Good evening and afternoon and morning or whatever time of day it is, wherever you are in the world. I am your host Tiffany and welcome to Everything in Tea. Today's tea, we have got a constant comment tea. It is by Bigelow. It is a black tea, so it's very, very bold. And it is, of course, a packet. It is not a loose leaf today. So this is probably their most famous, most popular blends. It is almost like a spicy cup of tea, and yeah, it's just orange sweet spice tea basically is all it is. And it comes in one of them. It is by Bigelow. It has the information about Bigelow, the family of the Bigelow company there. But yeah, it's called Constant Comment. I am drinking it in my lovely little Star Trek cup to boldly go where no man has gone before, because today we've got a very interesting show. Of course, there it is. As you can see, I'm still doing my little Spock hand thing, live long and prosper, so Star Trek, So yeah, it's very, very bold, very, very spicy. I can really taste the orange in it. That's a lot of the reason why it's one of my favorites. We've got an interesting show today, like I said. We're going to be discussing some things that happened in May, even though this is the first week of June. So, first off, about April, I believe it was, they had something called Graphic Novel Day. Most people do not ever hear of Graphic Novel Day. It's not as popular as Comic Book Day. So Graphic Novel Day is something where you can go and get graphic novels. People say there is no difference whenever there is. Usually graphic novels, a lot of them are volumes. So they all come in one book. A lot of them are not paperback. A lot of them are in a nice little hardback book. I was very lucky because I was with somebody who didn't want to pick out a book, so I actually got to pick out two. But, yeah, usually on Graphic Novel Day, it's a little bit different. You get one free graphic novel. There's usually a selection out on the table. I believe another day, International Day, is coming up in September for Graphic Novel Day. And so, anyway, for the Graphic Novel Day, I chose Fawkes, which, if anybody's read Batman in the past few years, recognizes that name. OneSoul is the name of it. So it's got this beautiful gold and black background, and it is a full book. As you can see, it's got a beautiful gold little thing, and it is done in black and white. So that's kind of nice. If you wanted to, you could actually go in and you could actually color the black and white. I know a lot of manga, some people do that with their mangas. But yeah, so it's called OneSoul. I've heard of this graphic novel before. That's the reason why I picked it up. It'll look nice on a bookshelf, or just laying out on a coffee table. So that is the graphic novel. Another graphic novel, the second graphic novel that I chose. It's an interesting one because it's also, not only is it a graphic novel, it's got some cooking recipes inside of it. Sounds crazy, but it's true. It is by Bigelow. It is volume 1. It is To Drink and to Eat, Taste and Tales from a French Kitchen. So that's cover. That is the back. Hungry for help in the kitchen. That's basically what the back says. So the thing about this is, it's, as you can tell, you've still got the little graphic novel feel all throughout. But then you've got some little things. It's all about somebody who is going through and trying different things, how to cook. It's sort of like a culinary memoir, maybe. But yeah, so like if you just flip through it and stuff, you've got like ingredients right on this page. There's a great pesto how can I describe it? A great pesto recipe in here. It's got, of course, different types of areas. So like there's one that's called Budapest, this one's summer. And so, you know, you've got the tomatoes that I have tasted. So all different types of tomatoes. So it's informative. It's fun. There's also a chocolate cake recipe later on in the book. There is an express zucchini salad recipe. Francine's drink recipe. So, I mean, it's got different types of little things like that, only it's done more like a comic book. But it is a graphic novel, and it's called To Drink and to Eat, Tales and Taste from a French Kitchen, Volume 1, is by Bigelow. So yeah, another book that will look nice on a bookshelf in the kitchen or anything like that, you know. So yeah, so those are the 2 graphic novels. So that was a couple months ago. Last month, May 4th, because this is the first day of June, a little bit late, but that's okay. That's really good tea. May 4th, of course, was not only, let's see, there was Star Wars Day, the Kentucky Derby, Comic Book Day, and there was something else, and I know I'm forgetting it, but I don't remember what it was. So that was all going on all in one day, May 4th. Of course, Free Comic Book Day. If you've been living under a rock over the past few years and you've never heard of Comic Book Day, I will tell you a little bit about it. So Comic Book Day, different publishings of comics come out. They're free. They're usually a one-off, you know. Sometimes they'll start a series at times. Sometimes it's just a full comic book that is just like a one-off type of comic book. It's a good way to find out if you want to read that comic book or not. If there's a comic book that you're interested in, but you're not sure if you would like it or not, you can always check it out on that day if they have one available. It's just a fun way to check out comic books. So, with that being said, what type of comic books did this girl get? There's a couple that I got that I was very excited about. Couple that I was just fascinated about. One that I just got just because I thought it sounded fascinating. And there's a couple that I was just sort of like, wow, that's an interesting name. And so, first of all, we're going to mention Disney Encanto. I had actually watched this movie like a couple of days before that. So, it was kind of nice to see like a comic book, and it's dedicated more towards kids, which is fantastic. So, you know, and the movie was really, really good. So I thought, I'm going to try that. So I kind of like the fact that I actually had just seen that movie and actually found a comic book about it. So that's kind of neat. Another one, and Free Comic Book Day, that's a great way to like take the kids, let them pick out some of the kids' free comic books, won't cost you anything. See if they like it. Of course, with it being May the 4th, with summer and reading and everything, and this hair's driving me crazy. It's nice to have that around, you know. I will always tell you, I love libraries. I think libraries are like one of the greatest places in the world, just because, number one, if you got a headache, it's a great place because people are quiet. Number two, you can learn anything. Anytime I move to a different town, no matter where it's at, I find the library the very first thing because that's where you find information at. I wish a lot more people would do that. You know, if you ever need directions in a town, stop at the library because usually they know exactly where everything is. So for the next book that I got, again, you know, because it's geared towards kids, I love unicorns. When I was a little girl, I used to collect unicorns. I think every little girl does that at some point in their life. I got Unicorn Crush, another Phoebe and her unicorn adventure. I liked the cover and I liked the fact that it was unicorns. So that's basically the reason why I got this one, you know. It's by Dana Simpson. The Tall Tales, of course, was by Disney. And that's pretty much all it says. So yeah. So actually I'm wondering about this one. Does it have a... Oh yeah. So also about the Disney one. Let me explain this one. About the Disney one. On the back cover of this. So here is Disney Encanto. The back cover, you flip it around. It is Turning Red. It is Panda Problems. It's another New Adventures of Turning Red. It's a Disney Pixar is the one that puts it out. So this is actually a 2-in-1 comic book. So on the back, if you flip it over, so one side has Disney Encanto, the other side has the Turning Red. And I just noticed that. So that is very, very cool. The next one, everybody, all the rage was about, first of all, this is an anime, a manga. Started out as a manga, turned into an anime, became a live action this last summer. It's One Piece. It's Ace's story, the manga. Yeah, so it's art by Boichi, B-O-I-C-H-I. And if you don't know who that is, he's a great artist. But yeah, so it's One Piece. I like One Piece. I've always liked One Piece. I've liked One Piece before the live action. I liked it as a manga. So of course, since it's a manga, it is black and white. I know people who will take mangas and use them like coloring books and just color in the pictures themselves because they are black and white. Of course, that is something that I don't do. But the older I get, the more relaxing coloring is to me. So maybe eventually I'll take on that idea. You know, so if you like One Piece, you're gonna like this. I got it because it's One Piece. I like One Piece. It's good. It's good anime. They didn't butcher it by doing the live action, which was really nice. One Piece manga's great, so you know the anime's fantastic. The next one I got. Speaking of libraries, I got one. It is, okay, so when I was a kid, we had something called Archie. So you had Archie, Jughead, you know, those characters. They turned that into Riverdale, which was a TV show. I still like the original Archie from like back in the day when I was a little kid back in the 80s. So Archie has Archie Horror Presents The Cursed Library Prelude. So basically this is actually horror from Archie's. So you know, I thought, you know, how interesting is that? I mean, what a franchise. I mean, like, it changes with the times, comes out with this great comic books. There was even an Archie zombie comic book at one time. It's probably still out, but apparently, yeah, apparently this has been around for 10 years, the Archie horror. I never knew about it. Apparently it's one of those things that was even, if I did know about it, I didn't realize what it was until it was too late. So I find this to be kind of fascinating, you know. I think it's fun, I think it's interesting, and library, I figured I would like, you know, anything with a cursed library. I would start at my alley. So I thought that would be a fun one to get. Being old school again. Actually, I'm going to do this one next. Okay, The Night Librarian is another one. It's Christopher Lincoln. It is going to be interesting. This is a page, and this is a Turner. The New York Public Library has always been their favorite place, but lately things have gotten weird. Things like a dragon imprint on the ceiling and giant beanstalk. So it turns out the books are bursting with magic, and suddenly all sorts of villains are escaping from their books and threatening to destroy the whole library. Now it's up to Page and Turner and a motley crew of escaped storybook characters to save this beloved library from destruction before it's too late. You know, that just it seemed fun. You know, another one. This one is probably geared more towards kids. If you like books, if you're an avid reader of books, you were probably gonna pick this one up just because of see how many books you've read that are magically coming to life. You know, which is That would be fun. So, being old school, I found out, and I didn't even know this one here was coming out. I'll post a link down below for the National Library, or the freecomicbookday.com, because I didn't even know this one here was coming out. I didn't see it on the list anywhere. So this one here was a surprise to me. It may have been on the list, I may have just missed it. Flash Gordon. You know? As crazy as it sounds, I like the old school Flash Gordon. I like Flash Gordon. Jeremy Adams, Will Conrad, Lee Lovereach, and Taylor Esposito. So, you know, it's Flash Gordon. It's number 0. And it's Flash Gordon. You know, I mean, you gotta like Flash Gordon. So, yeah. So that's sort of like the old school pick for me that made me feel really, really old, even though I'm only 51. Another one, of course, it was Star Wars Day, so of course I'm going to be picking up the Star Wars comic book. So, it is 2 action-packed stories featuring Darth Vader, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, and many more classic characters. Soul, Robertson, Rosenberg, Pack, Rosen's Guru Effects. So, yeah, so I got the Star Wars one because, you know, Star Wars Day, you gotta have a Star Wars comic book, you know. So that pretty much made my day right there, you know. So that's a fun one to have. The next one, of course, is another fun one. Of course, we just went through, let's see, Jodie Whittaker ended her realm, heading Doctor Who. Then we had the 3 Doctor Who's over Christmas time with David Tennant coming back, introducing the new Doctor. So I actually got the new Doctor Who. Of course, since then, he has left. It rumored to be Matt Smith will be coming back. So yeah, so Doctor Who's been through a ton of changes within the past few years. But anyway, you know, Doctor Who comic, they usually come out with a comic book on Comic Book Day. Doctor Who does. So, you know, it's BBC, Dan Walters, Kelsey Ramsey, Valentina Ranconi, and Comic Craft. The 15th Doctor faces a fearsome new threat. So, yeah, so, you know, it's Doctor Who. You can't go wrong with Doctor Who. Anything Doctor Who, you can't go wrong with. And the last but not least is Romeo vs. Juliet, a Kill Shakespeare adventure. Anthony De Cole and Stefan Toshev. I probably just butchered that name. But, yeah, so, you know, that's it. I don't know. I just thought Romeo versus Juliet, a Kill Shakespeare adventure. I love Shakespeare. You know, any type of Shakespeare. I think that Hamlet and Macbeth are probably some of the greatest works ever written. Personally speaking, that's what I think only. Just my opinion, don't kill me. Don't be rude. But I thought this would be a fun little comic just to have and to read. And so yeah, so that was my picks for Graphic Novel Day and Comic Book Day. Let me know what you think. Was there something that you picked up that, you know, you found out that you really enjoyed, that you really liked? Did you go with your kids? It's a great way to get your kids into reading. Now, it may not be Chaucer or Jane Austen. Another person I love to read is Jane Austen. But it's a good way to get kids into reading. So, or if they're into drawing, it's a great way to mix that drawing and reading together. So, yeah, so that's what I did in May. And I hope you all have a lovely, lovely week. Please subscribe and talk to you all later.